Got all that flack for doing that festival in Saudi Arabia. I don't think that festival would have been legitimate if I wasn't there.
Was it legitimate in general? I mean, Saudi Arabia paid a bunch of comedians obscene.
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it, they said he made too much for the contract.
You don't eat the He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. And none of these white boys function like that. Katt was talking about that did the other but not about anything.
Katt Williams just put Dave Chappelle on blast in a way that no one expected. And Chappelle really was the bravest comedian alive at one point. The guy literally walked away from $50 million because he refused to bend. He used to punch up at the government, at the elites, at anyone who deserved it.
Everybody wants to know, why'd you walk away from $50 million?
I wasn't walking away from the money.
Yeah.
I was walking away from the circumstances that were coming with the newfound plateau.
But then something changed. That Dave Chappelle, who turned down a $50 million check and escaped to Africa, never returned. And we got someone else in his place. Now, I'm not saying he was cloned or anything like that, but something definitely changed. And now Dave's become part of the very system he used to criticize. He's punching down, playing it safe with his jokes, and his comedy specials barely get any laughs anymore. It's just uncomfortable to watch. He's like a shadow of his former self. And the worst part, he refuses to see it. And now he sounds like some arrogant boomer who refuses to accept any criticism.
U.S. intelligence did make it clear that they believe that the Saudis killed al-Khashoggi in the embassy in Turkey. And you knew that when you went, right?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I should tell you.
You had no qualms?
I'm going to say that they asked me to go years before that. And I said no for that very reason. Since that time, the United States government does business with the Saudis. Netflix does business with...
And Dave is also out here dragging Katt Williams, the same Katt who used to defend Dave when everyone else turned their backs on him. So what happened to Dave? Did they get him finally? And why is Katt out here that Dave killed his own career?
That's why I can speak with impunity about the Illuminati, because I know who you would have to be in order for what I'm saying to bother you, number one.
Right.
Number two, I know you're big.
All right, let's go back for a second, because I think people forget just how different Dave Chappelle used to be. This is the guy who gave us Clayton Bigsby, a blind white supremacist who didn't know he was black.
Clayton Bigsby, the author?
What, you don't think I can write them books? Just because I'm blind don't mean I'm dumb.
And then there was Black Bush. Dave made fun of the US president at a time when criticizing George W. Bush on TV actually meant something.
What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What? Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil, bitch? You cooking? You win? You have a problem with that? You know what you should do? You should sanction me. Sanction me with your army. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have an army.
Dave Chappelle is the guy who did the racial draft, who did the player haters ball, who turned racism and politics into comedy that made you think while you were laughing. Old Dave didn't care about protecting powerful people. He went after everyone. And then he did what no comedian before him did. He walked away from $50 million. Just think about it, $50 million. And he did it at the height of his fame. All because he felt like the system was trying to make him look crazy, and he didn't want to be a puppet for the people running Hollywood.
I've been in show business since I was 14. And I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay. When you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through, and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time in their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next.
And for years, Katt Williams was one of the biggest defenders of that decision. Katt would tell anyone who listened that Dave did the right thing, that the industry tried to destroy him, that Dave was a king for walking away, and that Comedy Central actually owed him even more than $50 million.
Chappelle was decapitated in front of us. They called him Pilot Boy, because he had 19 pilots in Hollywood, and everybody passed on him and said his show.
What do you think of
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it,
They said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are gonna say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. And my nigga got on a flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, it was so.
But here's the problem. That Dave who escaped to Africa, he's gone. Because the Dave Chappelle we have in 2026, he's not that guy anymore, not even close. Let me give you some concrete examples. The Riyadh Comedy Festival. This happened in September 2025. Saudi Arabia put on this massive comedy festival funded by their government, but the performers had to agree to a whole list of restrictions. No jokes that degrade the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, its leadership, or its people. No jokes about the Saudi royal family or legal system. No jokes about any religious figures or religious practices. And this is a country that allegedly gets rid of journalists. But for Dave Chappelle, he didn't even want to acknowledge that. His defense? Everyone works with Saudi Arabia, so why wouldn't he? And now he's playing the race card, claiming people are only upset with him because he's a black comedian.
U.S. intelligence did make it clear that they believe that the Saudis killed Jamal Khashoggi in the embassy in Turkey. And you knew that when you went, right?
Oh, absolutely. Now,
You
I
didn't
should
have
tell
any-
you,
You had no qualms?
I won't say that. They asked me to go years before that, and I said no for that very reason. Since that time, the United States government does business with the Saudis. Netflix does business with the Saudis. Everyone, the Saudis finance tons of movies. All these, I know, I see them financing boxing matches and all these things, and none of these things were an issue until I went there. Now, why is that? As soon as a black man can make money off the plantation, they try to tell you that the money is dirty. Well, okay, I'll go home and spend the money with actual slave owners.
But Dave framing the criticism as doesn't make sense. Katt Williams didn't go, and no one's calling him a sellout. And it's not just Dave getting called out. White comedians like Pete Davidson and Bill Burr have faced the exact same criticism for performing in Saudi Arabia. People are calling all of them sellouts and hypocrites. People literally ripped Pete Davidson for taking a paycheck from the Saudi government when his dad literally died in 9/11. But it's not just about this Saudi connection. Let's talk about the whole trans controversy. Dave's last Netflix special opens with joked about how trans people make him uncomfortable and how they're too sensitive for being upset. But look, the problem is not that he's talking about trans people. It's the fact that jokes are bad. Really bad. They're soft. Cringe even.
I ain't doing trans jokes no more. You know what I'm gonna do tonight? Tonight, I'm doing all handicap jokes. Well, they're not as organized as the gays.
Now compare that to Katt Williams. When Katt talks about the trans agenda, he talks about the system, the humiliation rituals, the way they control people through trauma, the way they break you down and build you back up as a puppet. He's not punching down at regular trans people. He's punching up at the one actually running things.
So 20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things, so I knew that both of those things would become popular.
And here's the crazy part. He used to go after the system, the government, the shadowy elites, but that was the old Dave. The new Dave complains that people weaponized his jokes. He told NPR he resents them for it.
I did resent that the Republican Party ran on transgender jokes. You know, I felt like they were doing a weaponized version of what I was doing. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
This is before I learned the phrase, I respectfully decline. And I was on Capitol Hill, and everybody ran up to take pictures with me from every congressional office. And I just take pictures with whoever asked. I didn't ask how they voted, what their voting record is. And then here comes Lauren Boebert. And she said, can I get a picture? And I'd already taken 40 pictures. I didn't want to say no in front of everybody. But I didn't know the phrase, I respectfully decline. So I just took the picture. And then she posted a picture before I could even get from there to the show and says something to the effect of, just two people that knew that this just too generous. She instantly like weaponized.
But here's the thing. He made the jokes. He put them out into the world. And he accepted the support from Elon Musk. Dave literally brought Elon on stage. So you don't get to cash those checks and then act like you were never political.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world. Cheers and booze, I see.
And Katt Williams was the one who saw this shift happening in real time. But Katt kept his mouth shut about it for years. He even praised Dave in his Club Shay Shay interview, called him a king. Katt claimed that he also had to turn down more than $50 million because of certain conditions that came with those contracts. And he even brought up the whole Diddy situation, saying he turned down those offers to protect his man, showed him love. Dave didn't seem too grateful. In fact, he didn't waste any time firing back during one of his stand-up sets. Right after Katt's interview started getting attention, Dave got on stage and went after him. He called Katt out for supposedly only targeting black comedians and suggested that Katt might just be projecting his own issues onto everyone else in the industry.
You only eat the He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. And none of these white boys function like that. And Katt is one of the best painters in the game. Stop. And Katt hurt people, but I'm a hurt person that never hurt people. And he does it all the time. This one and that one and this one. But anything that you did wrong. He didn't do nothing wrong. I'm gonna bring a black guy. Katt did this to me. Katt was talking about that did to other but not about anything that did to him. If I told my story, it would break your heart. I lost everything and never ever told on anybody.
But Dave missed the whole point. See, Katt said something back then that a lot of people overlooked, that the real divide isn't about race at all. It's about being on God's side versus that other side. Starts exposing the same industry Dave walked away from in 2005 and escaped all the way to Africa. And Dave's response was to defend the industry and then make it a race issue? That's when Katt realized something had changed. In an interview with the New York Times, Katt said, "Chappelle would never cross me," and then he did. Katt had so much respect for Dave. He thought they were on that same side, the God side. Now, as for that whole Diddy situation, this is where it gets even crazier. Right after it was announced that Diddy would be honored with the BET Lifetime Achievement Award, the Daily Mail caught Dave and Diddy out enjoying a dinner together. And keep in mind that Diddy already knew at that point that Cassie was about to drop her lawsuit. According to the Mail, Dave and Diddy were all smiles during the dinner, and they even left together in the same car. Now sure, Dave later made some baby oil jokes, but he never really criticized Diddy or the system that enabled him. In fact, he praised Diddy for saving him after he got attacked at a comedy show. But then it got weirder. Dave admitted he went to Diddy's house and joked about missing his chance to smash Cassie.
Okay, look, it's not that I think Puff is right, but when I got attacked in LA at the Hollywood Bowl, people forget Puff was the guy that tackled my attacker. He saved my life. It's hard to be mad at after that. I had security that night, but you know what I mean? They wasn't ready. Them had some slippery shoes on, or something ran out. All them slipped and fell. And Puffy got my attacker and tackled him. And then years later, when I heard about that baby oil, I was like, what did those slip on? I've been to Puffy's house. No, I didn't see none of the stuff they said. I didn't know that was my big chance to Cassie.
But it's not just that Dave's new jokes are distasteful. It's worse than that. His jokes are not funny. The great Dave Chappelle is no longer funny. There's no denying it anymore. Dave got comfortable. He started hanging out with billionaires, doing shows for Saudi royalty, buying up his whole town in Ohio, and bragging about how he doesn't care about affordable housing.
When we tell you that black capitalism isn't concerned with liberation but is only asking for a seat at the table of the oppressor, here we have ex-genius corrupted by power Dave Chappelle letting his class interests speak louder than his race, threatening to remove the investment of his company in his hometown if they went ahead with their plan to build social housing.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle. I just want to say, I don't know why the Village Council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they X out the $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
When you're a classist, in a society where class is so largely determined by race, then you end up being racist too.
Do you see the problem? Dave walked away from the plantation in 2005. Then he bought his own plantation in 2026. And the saddest part, he doesn't even see the irony. But let me hear from you now. What happened to Dave Chappelle? Did that old Dave even return from Africa? Did he simply sell out? Or was he threatened or even blackmailed? Drop all your takes in the comments and stay tuned for the next video.